Hey everybody, this is SWChris. I'm from SW City, and welcome back to the Thursday evening vlog. So last night, I just got back from seeing The Hobbit, so this whole episode is going to be a giant spoiler cast. Turn it off now if you don't want to be spoiled, or if you haven't already seen the movie. General thoughts on the movie. I actually fairly enjoyed it. It felt like it went faster than Desolation of Smaug and what's the other one? The first Hobbit. And it, even though it was probably the longest, I'm not sure about the running time, but it was pretty long. What did I enjoy the most about it? I obviously enjoyed the wrap-up of the story. It stayed fairly faithful to the book in terms of the progression of the plot and the elements that played a role in the plot. There were a couple extra things, obviously, and I'm not talking about the obvious things like Tariel. There were some incidental extras that struck me as a little off, and I'm not quite sure why they did them. Like the giant earthworms, why are they there? They just pop out of the ground and then they disappear. I hope we get some sort of scene in the extended edition that explains why they actually exist. My most favorite part of the movie, there were actually two really favorite parts of the movie, is the Burrows... No. That's the second favorite part of the movie is the Burrows and Grubb scene at the end of the film, where the Hobbit law firm is auctioning off the assets of the Baggins estate. I can't believe that they actually put the whole thing in there. That was really cool. It was a big in joke amongst some of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings fan community. And Burrows and Grubbs actually made an appearance. It's really cool. But the best thing was the way Galadriel just strode into Dol Guldur like she was Luthien, walking barefoot in the moonlight, straight into Morgoth's, keep. It was just right out of the Silmarillion, just for a few seconds there. It was awesome. I love that part. Then she turned into a swamp queen and went all badass on that. And, okay, I can go with that, I guess. I mean, it makes sense with the original film, but I'm glad they gave us a moment of her Luthienness, because in the appendices, I think it's the appendices, somewhere in the canon of the Lord of the Rings, she's said to be almost a reincarnation of Luthien. So to see a visual callback to the character of Luthien from the Silmarillion was really awesome. The Swamp Queen thing, I could do without it, but maybe that's like a visual depiction of the power that the ring gives her, Maybe because the ring was made by Sauron, that it makes elves look like swamp queens. They look ugly, it removes their beauty, in a sense. And it gives them kind of a terrible darkness. I almost said fey because, hey, we are pretentious here. But it gives them a terrible kind of fallenness look to them, and I guess that's kind of neat in his own way. Roak the Raven also made an appearance, which is amazing. He even chittered in his own language to Thorin. We didn't actually hear what he said. We couldn't understand it, but we heard it, so that was really cool. That's like right out of the book, so that was kind of neat. They short shrifted the werewolf guy. The werebear, what's his name? He was in the second film. They gave him one look, and I was a little surprised that the other wizard didn't die. I am really tired, so my brain is not working with the names, but I know them, trust me. A lot of cool visual references. It turned out very well, in my estimation. I also liked the ending of the frame story with old Bilbo greeting Gandalf. That was awesome again. Although it was clearly overdubbed with Ian Holm's original lines from 10 years ago, because he did not sound as old as he does in the first film. The end song by Billy Boyd, we listened to most of it and then we walked out because I guess some of our group was tired of just sitting there watching credits. But it was great. It was very enjoyable and properly capping off the 6 films, I think. The overall impression I get of the Hobbit trilogy is that it is not quite the masterpiece that Lord of the Rings was. I think that's because they just had to make up more of it. They had to put more dialogue into it. They couldn't refer to a bunch of stuff because The Hobbit, I differ with a lot of people who say that you could have told that in 1 or 2 movies. I actually think because of the way the story necessarily needed to expand into to fit a film, that they needed to add these extra subplots, and it actually was going to be a subpar film if they did not expand it to 3 movies. Just my take on it, but I think that is probably more correct than the popular take that, oh, look how much they added. They really didn't add a whole lot, you know? There was nothing, there is not a lot of extra in that film that is not alluded to, referenced directly in the appendices, Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit. And you have to keep in mind that Peter Jackson and company are making a film to tie directly into Lord of the Rings. The original Hobbit book was made before the Lord of the Rings, and it was intended as a children's story. And so if you're going to make The Hobbit a children's story and it's Peter Jackson, obviously that's going to not fit in with Lord of the Rings. And if you had done it that way, all the critics, instead of saying, oh, you could have shortened it into 2 films, and why did they add so much? You know, all the critics would be instead wondering why he's not tying it into Lord of the Rings. So, you know, it's you're damned if you do, you're danged if you don't, and that's just how you have to deal with it. But I thought it was great all around, and I cannot wait for the extended edition next year. It'll be a great lead-in to The Force Awakens in December 2015. So that's my take. Let me know what your take is in the comments if you've seen it. I would love to debate with you about various things. So let's have a fan fest in the comments below. That would be awesome. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this week. Next week, I will be vlogging on the road, so this may be a little lightly edited. Anyway, I will see you next week. Auf Wiedersehen, arrivederci, hasta la vista. Bye-bye.